Warning. Entering the house of high strangeness may result in goosebumps, questioning reality, side effects of paranoia, and crushing amounts of cussing. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the House of High Strangeness podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Joe.
I'm Rachel.
We are doing another episode this week of Reddit Stories Part 2.
Dos.
And, a little couple of things, a little extras today. And what's really important about this is we got a listener lore entry.
Ew.
Our very first listener lore.
Our very first. Shout out.
Shout out our sister. And we love her so much. We love you. I'm going to say her name, and hopefully she's cool with that. She probably will be.
Yeah, she says we can use her name.
Abby, text me if you want me to bleep it out. Okay. Should we just get into it? Do you have anything to say? Anything to say, Rachel?
If you don't mind, it would really help us out to give us a rating on whatever platform you're listening from.
Jaw.
It'll help us reach new humans and, pyramid scheme.
Pyramid scheme.
You like this podcast? Tell 3 of your friends.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We have our YouTube channel. You're probably watching it right now. But yeah, that's all.
Let's say if we get to like 500 subscribers, 500 followers, we get some good likes, I'll make you a cake.
We'll paint Joe red.
We'll paint me red and I'll give you a cake.
I'll bake the cake and then Joe is painted red.
Cool. Thanks for listening to our intro. I liked how fast that was.
Yeah,
Okay.
But first, I think we have a little gift.
Oh, we do have a gift.
We have a little gift from
The first listener lore entry.
Our sister got us a present, and it was so kind of her. And she drew Scolby on the present.
I'm gonna come.
And we
show
told
you.
her that we would open it on the podcast, so we will be doing that.
Oh, duh. Okay, look at this.
Look at that.
We got a little alien up here. This little alien, it's a UFO. And we got peace on, because like, peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
And then we got, whatever this guy's name is, Bigfoot or whatever, Big Feet,
Big feet.
And then she drew our little Scolby over here, our little goblin guy, and his broken horn, which you don't know the lore to that yet. So, and she just did this nice, Abby has the best handwriting, especially when it's cursive. So just look at that. That's nostalgic for Rachel and I.
Let me see. Oh, definitely. Yes. I love the Bigfoot. He's so cute.
So cute. Hopefully you guys could hear me during that. But.
Yeah, we also really want to make like a little character as Scolby. That's probably why you haven't seen him in a while. He's been working on coming into the physical. So
Yeah, he's been doing all sorts of rituals and whatnot.
Yeah, we don't know when he'll be back, but it's definitely taking some time. But he will be back. So let's open this present, shall we?
Let's do it. Okay. I want to keep this. So it's like, I want to keep all that artwork she did.
Yeah, at least keep Scolby well maintained so he knows what to come back as.
Yeah, something recognizable. And she just wrapped this shit so good, too. Wow. Okay. What am I doing here? Let's take longer. I'll do a little speed through here. Yeah.
What is it?
It's like a framed cryptozoology Monsters in America
What?
thing.
I
That
love
is
that.
so cool, dude.
Dude, we're putting it in my camera.
Yeah. We got to put this in our
I
background.
love cryptozoology.
Yeah, if you send us something, we're putting it in our background. So we always like gifts.
We don't know where you'll send it yet, but
Yeah, we don't know
we'll
where
figure
you'll
that
send
out.
it. If you know us, just give us a little email and we'll help you get it to us.
Yeah, but that's really awesome. And as you probably know, we do a segment called Cryptids 101 where we talk about each and every cryptid and we talk about the origins of it, the sightings, reports, and how it came to fruition. So I'm so excited to have that in the background. I love cryptids so much.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you so much.
Our biggest fan. Our biggest fan.
Our number one.
Our number one. All right here.
So let's get into her listener lore story.
Let's do it.
Would you like to read it?
I'd be happy to read it.
All right. She did give us some photos too and some drawings of the layout of what happened. So we'll definitely be showing those as well.
Okay. From our sister, Abby. She says, "Hi, kitties. First of all, I am so proud of the podcast and absolutely obsessed with it. The second I see any update of y'all posting, I tune in, as you should. Secondly, my name is Abigail. Yes, you can say my name. Okay, there we go. I'm the older sister and have told you lots of stories already, but today I would like to recount my experiences working as a night janitor at a high school. Fair warning, there will be lots of details, but that's what makes the story. I worked at this high school from June 2019 to March 2022. In those 3 years, I've been in every creepy, unsettling area of the school. I worked from 2:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Those are some good hours. Monday through Friday, and I loved it. I had the best areas on my route of classrooms I was tasked to clean, including the daycare, the football teachers' classrooms, the library, the main and attendance offices, and the girls' locker room. We were in charge of cleaning up after-school events such as games and concerts, so sometimes we were at the high school till 1 a.m. Ooh. I've always thought about like when you would go to like parent-teacher conferences when you were a kid, and like it's dark outside and you're like in the school and like not as many lights on and whatnot. It's kind of spooky.
It's so liminal.
So I can't imagine being alone in a school.
Anyway, let's continue.
I experienced the paranormal many times at this school, and unfortunately, there aren't any pictures and videos, but there is evidence which I will provide to add merit to the story. The first experience that comes to mind is an incident where I was working a Saturday overtime shift by myself. There were a couple incidents that happened. Now, keep in mind the layout of the school, which I will include in pictures. There are 2 sets of locked doors to get through before you get to the gym area where the cheerleader competition was taking place. So all people other than myself that are in the school are only in the gym, as I am the only person in the school at the time that can open these set of doors. Now, other staff besides myself were at the school, and most of the lights aside from emergency lights are off. I'm in the custodial office eating lunch and only had one earbud in my ear at the time, the volume turned down a bit lower in case I needed to hear the coaches in the gym call on my radio. I'm watching YouTube and eating. Oh, yeah. When I hear footsteps running down the linoleum floor, squeaks from shoes and all. I'm mildly annoyed thinking that the coaches allowed some kids to get through to run around the empty halls. I pause my video, remove my earbud, leaving it on the desk, then grab my radio. I open the door and stand in the dark hallway. The hallway is in the shape of a square. So imagine a circle hallway. That'd be kind of rad. like an aquarium round hallway.
Totally.
Anyways, square hallway. So as I look down, all I see is the turn. No kids, no other adults, and it is silent. Because of the 2 sets of doors by the gym, it shuts out any sounds from that area of the school. So when I say silent, I mean eerily quiet. I can hear a slight ringing in my ears. That's a good sign. Mm-hmm. Naturally, I think they are hiding because they don't want to get caught. All the classrooms are locked, so I skip checking those, but there's lots of little caveats and bathrooms they can hide in. So I make my way down twisting hallways and then into the bathrooms, which both men and women's are empty. As I leave the women's bathroom, I look up to the adjacent hallway where the daycare is and see the shadow of a person briefly turn the corner. It wasn't a child, as it was too tall. I called out, "Excuse me, can I help you?" and rushed down the hall to catch them. But when I turn the corner, they aren't there. Thinking maybe they went upstairs, I took the elevator up. As soon as I exited and heard what sounded like a little girl giggling
No.
softly
No way.
and running behind the adjacent wall to the elevator. That's totally something Abby would get. I chuckled to myself, thinking this kid is trying to play with me because she's bored.
Aw.
I walk into the hall and behind the wall, but there's no little girl. Then I hear soft, high-pitched humming on the other side and further down the hall. Again, I walked back around the other side of the hall and wall, and it was silent. I waited about 45 more seconds to see if I could hear anything else, then noped the fuck out of there and just decided to head back to the office and finish
Dude,
my lunch.
45 seconds is so long.
Mhm.
Like sitting there in silence
yeah.
trying to hear what you just heard and being like, am I crazy? Like silence for 45 seconds.
It would be such a raw human experience to like, you have an earbud in for like 20 minutes and then you take it out and then you're just like silently, like all you can hear is yourself walking and the echoes of that through the hallway. And then you hear that, and then, like, especially in, like, a school, especially, like, a high school where everything is just reverberated times 10, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, was that just a sound of me walking, or was that something else? Like, I would be tripping out. Like, I always trip out when stuff like that happens to me. And then sitting there for 45 seconds just in the silent, and your ears are ringing.
No way. Mm-mm.
And you're just listening.
I would quit my job.
And she did! Later that night, after everyone has left, the competition is over. I'm in the gym cleaning. This is probably where it gets good. I had both my earbuds in at that point since the radio was no longer needed. That's ballsy, Abby. That's insane. I don't know how
Honestly,
you would do
I would do the same thing too. Like, I heard footsteps. No, I didn't. I heard a little girl giggling, hustling down the hallway. No, I didn't. You know?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
denial. The earbuds I was using were noise canceling, and I was on top of the T7, which is a vehicle used for scrubbing schools, and I am scrubbing the gym. And as I reach one end to turn and to the next row, over my music and the sound of the scrubber, I hear and feel pounding over your noise canceling headphones and over the T7. That's crazy.
She hears the pounding and she feels it
Like,
on
dum,
top
dum.
of the scrubber thingy. That's insane.
Squeaky footsteps run up to me, and I immediately stop the T7, shut it off, and rip out the earbuds. Again, ear-ringing silence. I could just see her doing that, like...
I know, like, huh?
Again, ear-ringing silence. Thinking I just imagined it, I resumed my cleaning. About 15 minutes later, I'm on the other side of the gym and have one more row before I finish scrubbing, and I feel eyes on my back. I look up and briefly see what looks like the shadow of a man leaning on the door frame of the open gym door with his arms folded and his legs crossed.
I'd be like, hi.
He's like,
I want a ghost.
a ghost.
I want a ghost boyfriend.
I want a ghost boyfriend.
I know he's like leaning. Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, Abby. I double checked and it was gone. Now, unlike the little girl I heard earlier, I wasn't as afraid of this shadow as his namesake was hanging in the gym, and I knew him to be a friendly, mischievous presence.
His name was
Redacted. He was a former psychology teacher and football coach and mentor that worked for years at the high school. Sadly, he passed in 2017 after losing his battle with ALS. His obituary is linked below, which I probably won't show, but it's good for us to see. I knew his name was redacted as the first year I worked at this high school. I downloaded one of those silly free ghost hunting radar apps and went ghost hunting, lol. That is more than enough. It's like you're the ghost machine. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Up where the roof access and air conditioning filters are located, I entered a small room with a single chair placed in the center of the middle of the room and faced the entrance.
What the fuck?
I walked in and
What?
sat in the chair and asked the app, "What is your name?" And the app then answered the redacted name. Cut back to 2 years later, after becoming more acquainted with this spirit and experiencing footsteps, phantom keys jingling, and trying to unlock doors to rooms I was in. Phantom keys jingling is definitely something I've experienced before, and that's kind of one of the scariest things because it's a personality trait of whatever you're hearing, and especially for this spirit, since it was a former teacher at the school. It's like, dude,
I've never had that happen to me before, but
no.
if I did, I would pee and poop my pants.
I remember hearing that at the restaurant that us siblings used to work at, and like
Oh my god.
like when I'm
yeah.
waiting for one of the bussers to finish doing the dishes and I'm kind of just walking around.
Oh my
I've heard that there
gosh.
before as well.
Yeah, the restaurant we both worked at, we both had very paranormal experiences happening there
Oh
as well.
yeah.
I had to open the store many times and do morning paperwork, and I would
Mhm.
be hearing like, like down the
Ooh.
hallway. Or
Ooh.
there was one where I heard a sneeze, and I was like, oh, like the owner must be here, or maybe it's the head like, manager of the kitchen, and nobody's clocked in.
Mhm.
There's cameras, like there's a whole computer with all the cameras, and nobody has walked in. I would know if someone else was there with me. Everything was locked. You had to come in with a specific code. There's no way anybody was there. So I definitely had some weird experiences there. But hearing keys jingling is the scariest thing.
Because it's like somebody's actively walking around, and like the only manager I would know of is up in the office, and the only other person is doing the dishes, and I'm like, they're there. They don't have keys.
Yeah.
So
Also, side note, the place we worked at, the stairs were made of cheese graters.
cheese graters.
When I first started working there, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I would ever.
Don't
Yeah.
fall down those fucking
Don't
stairs.
fall.
Sorry, I stole that from you.
No, it's okay. It's just so ridiculous.
If anything, they kind of gripped your shoes a little bit better so you wouldn't fall. But
Yeah,
it's like if you're
and they were
tripping,
super dull. There were times where I fell down the stairs. In the intro, I literally fell in the hallway of that restaurant.
yeah, there's an Easter egg of footage of Rachel biffing it at
In the
restaurant.
intro on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on beat too. I made it that way.
Anyway, continue on with the story.
And the dryer and washer randomly being turned off in the middle of the day in the daycare. Amongst many other manifestations, I would learn the following Monday who he was. That Monday, I walked back into the office at 2:30, and after the opening meeting, I spoke with my night lead supervisor and friend, who will be called B for the sake of her privacy, about my experiences on Saturday. When I finished the story, she looked surprised but not shocked. In fact, she looked a little unnerved. She had been working at that location for about 3 years before me and told me that she also experienced the little girl presence upstairs a handful of times, and though she had experienced it on multiple occasions, she felt no less anxiety than the first time she experienced it. I felt validated and unsettled. I was just hoping I was crazy. Pondering this, I went to the football coaches' classrooms to change their garbage. I said my hellos, and they commented that I seemed a little quiet. I told them about my experience on Saturday, then said, lucky that Redacted was looking out for me. Both of the coaches' heads snapped at me and then questioned where I had heard that name. So I told them the full story of everything I had experienced with Redacted and told them I found his obit. Confirmed he existed. They both got so excited and freaked out and proceeded to pull out pictures of him and talked about who he was. They told me everything I had experienced was spot on with life experiences, as Redacted was their coaching mentor. It was all emotional, and I got a bit choked up. This banner honoring his name, Redacted, was hanging above the door where his shadow was leaning. He still visits me sometimes. Occasionally, things that would not otherwise fall off my desk will clatter to the carpet when I'm not looking. That is actually like I love a good positive ghost story.
I love a ghost friend.
Yeah, and I love that you guys could have an emotional moment, and like that he's being honored in the school,
Yeah.
Her notable mentions is just a couple other things she's experienced at the school. Once I was outside gathering trash and stumbled upon a giant dead raven, no blood, fully intact.
Ew.
Okay.
Not our raven friends.
Not our raven friends. Another one is I was entering a dark classroom from the library entrance. There was a bright flash that startled me so much I audibly gasped and stumbled backwards, All windows had the blinds pulled down completely, and no light was entering the room at any angle. I tested.
Question.
Okay.
Did you lose time? A lot of the times when people experience white flashes of light, they lose time.
Yeah.
Question.
That's interesting. I wonder if she did
Let
lose
me know.
time.
Let me know.
Another one on a different Saturday. Working completely by myself, my radio was off, as if someone or something was talking to me. This was 10:30 at night, and no one else was in the building. So, okay.
So her radio started going off when nobody should have been using the radio.
Like she was the only one that had a radio. So somebody was at the charging station for the radios, picked one up, and then. But she's the only one there on a Saturday. Picturing the unsettling remains of a strangely humanoid-looking mannequin head, we affectionately named Cynthia. I know what it's like. It's Erica.
Yeah.
Other staff can corroborate my stories, so can other students. This school has been around since '81, and there are a lot more experiences that have happened here. I highly recommend looking into the history of this school, Joe and Rachel, as they are connected. Links are posted below. I have lots of other experiences, not just at the high school, so if you want to hear more, let me know. I'm letting you know now. We need to hear more.
Yeah, let us know.
She says, love you both. Killing it, Abby. That's really cool.
Yeah, she sent some pictures that we will definitely be posting.
Heck yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you, Abby, for the wonderful gift. That'll be in our background. And thank you for the story. If you guys have listener lore, please send it in. I went to breakfast with a friend recently, and he goes hunting pretty regularly. And those people spend a lot of time out in the wilderness, and there are some really weird stories he was telling me. So if there's that kind of niche group of things like that you've experienced, like out in nature, we'd like to do an episode on that kind of stuff too. You know who I'm talking about if you're listening.
Yeah, just send it to our email, houseofhighstrangeness@gmail.com. Send us a typed story that you'd like us to read. Please make sure to let us know if we can use your name in the email, or if you would like to change up your names just so people can stay anonymous. That would be great. But yeah, I mean, I love listening to listener lore because I want to know your lore. I want to know what's going on with you and who's listening, all 5 of you. But hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll gather a few more, and, please share. And yeah, I love listening to what people have had experiences with. So
yeah, and then it also fills everybody's brains who are listening and us with scenarios and things they can overthink about and get scared of, and then they'll experience it because they conjure it by thinking it.
Yeah.
Okay, should we get into our Reddit stories today?
Yeah, so our first Reddit story we'll be reading is called "A Stranger Approached My Car at Night with a Warning. Check the back seat." This is Reddit user 11 Velociraptors and I found this story on r/nosleep. She said I can use this story, and so I really want to thank you so much.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. We'll have her Reddit linked in the description below on our podcast and our YouTube.
We love our human creatives.
Oh my gosh, she has this story about how this neighbor of this guy, of the main character, the neighbor's door is left open all the time.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's so creepy. He'll walk by and be like, "Hey, are you there, Erica or Jessica?" I can't remember the name. And they're like, "Yeah, sorry, I'll shut the door. I just want to let some air in." And anyway, it gets so scary. And I wanted to read that one, but I also want to read this one, and then you guys go read that story because it is unbelievably terrifying. I was in my room late at night, as I do, with all the lights off on my computer reading scary stories, and I was looking behind my shoulder. I had to pause and turn on my lights. I had to come upstairs and talk to Joe and my other roommate. I just was I just can't. I can't. So anyway, this person has lots of amazing stories, but we'll be reading this one today.
Swag.
So
You reading it?
Sure.
Cool.
I like to think that I take my personal safety very seriously. I don't stand too close to the road while waiting for the walk signal. I have my location shared with my mother and my sister. I keep my wits about me and when I'm out in public, and I try not to dawdle after getting into my car. If I had only been more diligent about that last rule, I might not be in the situation I am in now. Early this morning, just about midnight, I was sitting in my parked car outside my favorite grocery store. I was exhausted from picking up a friend's evening shift, and so I stopped to grab dinner on my way home from work. The store is in an isolated part of town, but I had never felt unsafe in the area. Then again, I'd never been so late at night. The second I exited the store with my purchase, the old cashier closed up shop for the night and turned off all the lights in the building. For some reason, I did something I never do. I started eating in my car. As a precaution, I try not to linger in isolated parking lots, especially as a young woman who often has to run errands after dark. I feel that. That was my personal
Yeah.
say.
I don't even like doing that.
No. Maybe it was the hunger, or maybe the fact that due to a recent breakup, my house hasn't felt all that welcoming in the past few weeks. In any case, I was in no rush to return home. I pulled up an episode of The Terror on my phone and settled in to eat. I enjoyed a few minutes of blissful peace and quiet before a shout pierced through the night. I looked up from my phone and was surprised to find a woman standing in front of my car, waving her arms at me. My car was parked right in front of the store, facing towards the building, and there was only a thin sidewalk separating my vehicle from the store's exterior. I hadn't seen her coming at all. It was like she had emerged from the brick wall before me. She rounded my car, coming to a stop beside the driver's side window. She then started pounding at the ground, the universal sign for roll your window down. Fat chance, I thought. Though she looked sane and kempt, I had no clue what her intentions were. In fact, I felt pretty vindicated in always locking my car doors immediately after entering. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do the exact
too.
same thing. It's actually so annoying because I will like get into my car and before someone else can get into like the passenger with me to go somewhere, I lock the door and they're like, bruh, like open the door for me. I'm like, oh, I'm so used to like locking my door.
I'd rather deal with that than you not lock your doors as soon as you get in your car.
Yeah. The woman, perhaps seeing I was making no move to exit my vehicle, then told me something no one wants to hear. Hey, there's someone in your back seat. My mouth went dry. Time seemed to slow as 1,000 horror movie scenes raced through my head. I could almost feel the piano wire digging into my neck, the barrel pressing into my temple. I undid my seatbelt and prepared to launch myself out of the car. Now that the intruder knew I was aware of their presence, would I even have enough time to run? With one hand on the door handle, I stole a glance into the rearview mirror and saw no one. My car was a compact hatchback, meaning there is very little room for a person to hide in my cabin. Even in my exhausted state, I would have noticed someone upon looking into the mirror. My terror faded to confusion. I turned around in my seat, surveyed the cabin with my own eyes, and confirmed that there was no one in my back seat. Click. When I turned back around, the woman had taken another step closer to my car. Her body was barely a foot from my door, and her fingers were wrapped around the handle. There were a few more deep clicks as she tried, unsuccessfully, to open the locked door. I raised my gaze, and she gave me an odd smile, as though she and I were sharing a private joke.
Okay. That's worse than having somebody in your back seat.
No, yeah.
Get out of the car.
Yeah, it's like, ew, I can't handle that. For the first time, using the faint glow of the street lamp, I took a closer look at the woman's face. Her skin was stretched tightly around her skull, making her thin mouth and nostrils appear as though they'd been cut onto her. Her eyes were deep set and ovate, and her teeth seemed both too small and too numerous. I allowed myself a brief moment to gawk at the face before me, and then I threw my car into reverse and hightailed it out of the lot. For a few disheartening seconds, the woman held onto the door, keeping in step with my vehicle as I backed up. Luckily, she soon let go, and I drove away, my mind racing in the realization that the woman was trying to bait me out of the car. Even more disturbing was the fact that it had almost worked. I wondered if she had others with her that I simply hadn't seen, and what she had wanted from me. I hoped I had narrowly escaped a robbery as opposed to something much more sinister. I got back to my house 20 minutes later. Still shaken from my encounter, I rushed inside the house and made sure all of my doors and windows were locked. My exhaustion did little to soothe my nerves. My mind played tricks on me as I got ready for bed. I conjured up flashes of the woman's face in the dark corners of my house. Dude, I do the same thing too. After seeing horror movies, I always think that the thing in the horror movie is there with me.
It's coming to get me.
Yeah. Once I finally fell asleep, my fears followed me from the waking world. I had a long, vivid nightmare, most of which I've either forgotten or is irrelevant to this account. All I know is that when I jolted awake some hours later, it was the sound of a frantic banging on my door. I sat up in bed, unsure if I was still dreaming or not. My alarm clock read 4:17 in the morning. It was far too early for someone to be knocking on my door unless there was some kind of emergency, which, given the forcefulness of the knocks, there may have been. Slowly, I rose from my bed and inched towards the entryway. I had never before been in such a situation, and was at somewhat of a loss as to how to react. I didn't smell a fire, thankfully, but that didn't mean all was well. Suddenly, I heard a man's voice calling out my name in a questioning tone. It sounded vaguely familiar, but I couldn't immediately place it. "Who is it?" I called out.
Brian.
Answered the disembodied voice, and relief washed over me. My neighbor, Brian, lived in the house across the street. We weren't close exactly, but I often saw him walking down the block with his dog, Bailey. Oh my gosh, I just realized they're the same characters as the story I was talking about in the beginning that I read. Brian is the neighbor that walked past the girl's house and the door was open.
Oh, maybe it's all connected.
Yeah, and he was walking his dog, and that's when he first noticed her door open with Bailey.
Okay, 1-1
So
Velociraptor.
Yeah, so it's all
Okay.
connected. Guys, go read them. I need to go back and read them as well, and maybe ask if I can read them on.
That's cool.
That's so cool. Okay.
That's cool.
I love that. Okay. I turned on the entry light, but as I was still in my sleepwear, I didn't want to open the door unless I had to. Instead, I called back to him. "What's the matter?"
Well,
he began. I heard his voice crack, and he cleared his throat.
do you have someone over right now?
"What?" I asked, my heart skipping a beat. "No, I don't. Why do you ask?"
Well, the dog had to go out, and while I was in the yard with him, I thought I saw someone in your front window. Someone who didn't look quite right.
I stilled, feeling as though I was in some terrible dream. Turning around and glancing down the dark hallway, I wished I had turned on more lights on my way to answer the door. "She followed you home. She's in your house with you right now." I was ready to bolt out the door into the cold, but by some miracle, I had just enough presence of mind left to consider my neighbor's words more carefully. Something was wrong. I stepped away from the door. Are you all right, Brian?" He cleared his throat again, and when he next spoke, his voice sounded slightly different from before, as though he was testing out a new timbre.
Of course. I just got a bit of a cold here, but I still wanted to check in on you.
"But your dog, isn't it a girl?" Brian didn't respond. My mind reeled in torturous silence, trying to discern whether the threat was outside the door or inside the house with me. After a full minute of complete stillness, the handle to my front door began to move. It rotated downwards, as far as it could before the lock stopped it, then shook as the person on the other side of the door pulled on the handle. This happened several more times as the person tested my lock, and then there was a powerful as though someone had rammed into my door with all their might. After that, there was silence again. I stood frozen in place for another minute. I had no peephole. Oh, I really wanted to say pee hole. Okay.
I had no pee hole.
I had no peephole, but I worked up the nerve to walk into the living room and peer through the blinds into my front yard. In the distance, walking down the street away from my house, was a figure. Although I couldn't see the face, something deep within me knew it was the same person who had tried to open my car door. I watched her walk away in the quiet night until she disappeared from my view. Which is crazy because the neighbor lives across the street.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you walking down the sidewalk, homie?
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Like that side of the sidewalk too.
Needless to say, I didn't get much sleep for the rest of the night. I split my time between roaming the perimeter of my house looking for anything suspicious and sitting in my kitchen running the events of the night over in my mind. The most likely explanation was that I've been dreaming. After all, I'd nearly been baited into opening my door to a potential criminal just hours before, so it made sense that I'd have a nightmare about a similar situation. Then again, I had never in my entire life had a dream so vivid. Maybe somehow the woman really did follow me home. She easily could have stuck a tracker on my car. But how in the world does she know Brian's name? And how does she impersonate him so well? The sun is setting now. I haven't left the house all day. I've been too haunted by the idea of someone, or multiple someones, trying to draw me out into the open. No matter how many times I check the house, I still feel as though I catch glimpses of the woman in my periphery, of her beady eyes and uncanny smile. I suppose I should try to get some sleep now. Impossible as that seems at this point, I just needed to jot this down before I went to bed in case A, anything happens to me, and B, you ever think about blindly trusting the warnings of a stranger.
Wow. That is the end.
1-1 Velociraptors. Girl, since I've read that other story, I know now that this story is like a prologue.
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's right before that story. So please let me read the other one. I'll message you.
So it adds a supernatural account to the second story that you read.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It totally lines up. And now I want to go back and like stalk your whole account.
Do it. Stalk her account,
Everybody,
people.
stalk her account and read her stories in order. Holy crap. I wish I read them in order, but I just looked up r/nosleep and one of her stories came up that was in this, I think, in the middle of multiple stories. But holy crap, that was so good.
Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you letting us read this on our podcast. We're honored. Yeah, that was great. Hopefully we'll be able to read more of their stories. Especially if it's got attached stories too, you know.
We will read them if she gives us permission, and you go check out her account on Reddit.
You have to check her account on Reddit.
Sorry, you gotta do it.
Okay, should we move to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. This should be our final one today. This one is called A Package Marked Return to Sender. Now, we've both read this one before. I've heard this one on a podcast before, and maybe even before that. Creepcast, hello, the infamous Reddit story and creepypasta reading show. I love that show, so shout out Creepcast. I'm on their Patreon, because duh. I love this story. So this writer goes by the handle MSNEN _ Lyset LYSET. Put it up here. On r/nosleep.
Yeah, I remember reading this story before I heard it on Creepcast, and I first read it before hearing it.
I think I remember doing that too.
So when I was reading this, I was like, whoa! My stomach like dropped listening to the story, or hearing the story, and I don't give a fuck. Before every single story we read here, I'm gonna tell you the backstory of me reading it by myself because I get so scared from these, and I hope that you feel the same. And so, yeah.
There's nothing like reading r/nosleep stories or creepypastas in the dark by yourself. There's nothing like it.
Nothing like reading r/slap, no sleep.
R/slap, no pee hole.
Nothing like it.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay. A package marked return to sender. My neighbor is one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat on the hood of his car as it slowly creeps down the driveway, and douse himself in lukewarm water, all the while screaming, "Epic win! Epic fail!" or "Fuck! Epic maintenance of the status quo," for all I know. It can get tiring to watch him go about his shenanigans in the pursuit of viral fame. So when he knocked on my door the other day, told me he was going away for a few weeks, and asked that I would get his mail, honestly, it was relief. I can't explain the peace of mind I had knowing I didn't have to brace myself for any of his stupidity for a while. I was always afraid his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my life. Things were pretty normal for the first couple of days. He received a few bills, a bit of spam, and what I could only assume was a birthday card. Then, one evening, I got home to find a cardboard box waiting on his front porch. In big red letters was written, "Return to sender." I'm no small fry, but I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really freaking heavy. Lugging it across the road to my house was even harder, and I quickly realized there was no way I was going to drag it up the stairs and through my front door. I decided I'd leave his package in my garage. It wasn't like I kept my car in there. The garage door was a piece of shit that refused to open without a good thug and a whack.
Same.
Yeah.
The only way to get me to open up to you is with a thug and a whack.
Yeah, I was going to punch her in the face before when you talk about something serious. I don't hit my sister, I'm joking.
Okay.
It was less trouble. If anything, she's the one that hits me, dude.
I don't. Okay.
I mean, back in the
Calm
day,
down.
back in the day, you would beat the
Yeah.
shit out of me. I
When
was
we
this
were
little
kids.
scrawny bitch, and you're just like this muscular Vin Diesel of a woman, like fucking smacking me down because you hit puberty before me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I got her ass.
It was so funny because Joe was such a little like twig, and he was so funny and like spastic that anytime he'd make me laugh, I'd be like, boom,
Yeah,
just
dude.
smack him on the
5
shoulder.
stars all over my back. Showing my friends like my wounds the next week, and they're just like, "Dude, like, are you okay?"
I'm so sorry.
School counselors are like, "Is everything okay?" At home?"
Oh, okay. Continue.
It was less trouble just leaving the car in the driveway than it was to fight with the garage door every morning and night. In hindsight, I should have set the package down while I struggled to open the tricky door, but you know how it is when you've got a good grip on something, no point in setting it down if you don't have to. It was as I kicked the door for a third time that I lost my grip on the package, and it fell on the ground. I heard a light crack inside. Shit, I cursed. I hoped I hadn't broken anything important, but figured I just wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and let him assume the break happened en route. Hands free, I finally managed to get the garage door unstuck, and boy, did it screech in protest as it rolled up and over me. I dragged the box the rest of the way, setting it in the corner for whatever my neighbor would come back to claim it. And then I forgot all about it until a few days passed, that is. I'm not sure exactly how long it took for the smell to waft in from the crack under the garage to house door, but it came in, slow progression. It was a sickly sweet odor, similar to a skunk, and for the first few days after I smelled it, I genuinely assumed that exactly what it was, roadkill, that had left its mark on my house. It was only when I realized the scent was growing more intense instead of fading that I went looking for a source. That's when I opened the garage door, and that's when the odor knocked me back, holding my nose. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The only change in my garage was the box in the corner. I remember thinking it must have been one of those meat of the month subscription boxes. The meat must have gone rancid from being left out of the fridge for so long. How much meat could have been in there for the box to have been so large and heavy? An entire frickin' cow?
Okay, people who buy meat of the month subscriptions, are you okay? Because like, why are you buying meat off the internet? Or like subscription? Like that's so weird. I remember I bought one of those like meal kit like subscription packages, and I got it like 3 days late because I bought it on like a Friday and it came on a Monday or something.
Yeah.
And there was like shrimp in there, and it smelled so bad, and I wasted like $180. It sucked.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make the mistake in order to realize that it's a mistake you won't ever make again.
I'm never gonna do that again. Yeah.
I covered my nose as I approached the box, a pair of scissors in my hands. I probably wouldn't have needed them to open it, but it had become soggy enough at the bottom to poke through with a finger.
Oh, gross. That's so gross.
But I wasn't about to poke my finger into spoiled meat juices. That soggy bottom was the reason I had to open the box in the first place. If I tried to drag it out whole, everything would spill onto the floor. I was going to have to dump the pieces of meat one garbage bag at a time and take them down to the dumpster, a process I was not looking forward to. My scissors tore through the tape along the top of the cardboard box. I thought the smell couldn't get any worse, but as I flipped the flaps open, I discovered a whole new gamut of stink. It was like opening a burning oven. But instead of a heat wave, I was met with waves of piss, sweat, shit, and putrefaction.
What?
It was so bad that I staggered back and had to force down the puke begging to guzzle out of me. I don't think I could have handled that scent mingling with the horrors coming out of the box. I'm not ashamed to admit I ran out the door for a breath of fresh air. But in the short time I'd spent in the garage, the smell had become so ingrained in the fabric of my clothes that it clung to me like a shadow. Nothing I tried could keep the smell out of my nostrils. Not air fresheners, not a face mask, not 3 showers and a change of clothes. Every second that box lay open in my garage was another second the smell was allowed a foothold into my home. I had to bite the bullet. I returned to the garage, the flaps of the box still open as though inviting me to look. I was prepared, a clothespin pinning my nostrils shut, a garbage bag in one hand, the strongest cleaner I could find in the other, and long rubber gloves to keep my skin from having to touch what was inside. But, as it turns out, I needed none of those things. I wouldn't have to touch or clean the contents of that box. I would only have to suffer the nightmares every night. You see,
Did
that
you
was
hear
crazy.
Joe's throat?
That was crazy. That was crazy.
Wow.
Something's trying to get out of me. You see, there was meat in that box, but it didn't come from a cow or a pig. No, it was worse than that. It was my neighbor. Dead. Still in one piece, but dead.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
What the fuck? Why was he in a box?
I love that twist. I love that twist so much.
Why was he in a box?
Why was he in a box? I guess we'll have to see.
What was he fucking doing in there?
I called the cops, and naturally, they took me in for interrogation. It's kind of hard not to suspect the man with a corpse in his garage, after all. Thankfully, they soon realized I wasn't involved. My DNA might have been all over that box, but the smell might have left a mark throughout my house. But there was one piece of irrefutable evidence in my neighbor's own hands that proved my innocence. A vlogging camera. They showed me the footage only once. I'm not sure if they were allowed to, or if they felt so bad for me they figured it couldn't hurt. Either way, I saw it. My neighbor was sitting in the box outside of a shipping facility, laughing as he told the world how he was going to mail himself across state lines. He'd brought pee bottles, food, a pillow, and a few flashlights. His friend, a guy I'd seen at his place several times to help with his stunts, closed the lid and presumably dropped him off for shipment. Throughout the next couple of hours, or days, I'm honestly not sure, my neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress.
I think I'm in a truck now. I can feel it moving. Must be in a warehouse. Pretty warm here. Still got plenty of food.
That kind of stuff. And then, on the last entry, the box toppled over. He broke his neck, and that was it. The camera recorded until either the memory card got too full, or the battery died. There's one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. One thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day I die. Just after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching sound of my garage door.
Damn. So remember in the beginning when he dropped the package accidentally because it was too heavy and he heard the little crack? That was his fucking neck breaking.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
I think that this writer just predicted Mr. Beast's death. Dude. Yeah.
You nailed this one.
Let's go.
You nailed this one into a taped cardboard box.
You did. You nailed it into a taped cardboard box.
That was so good.
Wow. Thank you very much for sending or for writing that and allowing us to read it on our podcast. One of my favorite Reddit stories. Super
Yeah,
good.
That one was
A classic.
So good. I was
Cool,
like,
dude.
damn, like that sucks. That
That
sucks.
sucks. Well, that's all we have for you today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abby, for sending in your listener lore. Thank you, 11 Velociraptor. And thank you, MSNEN _ Lyset, LYSET, for the stories. SET, SET, for the stories.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it reads Masonin.
Miss Nen
Misnen _ Lyset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put it up here. There's no point to us explaining it, I
It
guess.
doesn't freaking matter.
But, yeah, thank you for listening to our episode of Reddit Stories Part 2. We'll come back with more Reddit stories. We might do some extra stuff with it because I love reading Reddit stories on the podcast. These are my personal favorite episodes, other than when Rachel blows my fucking mind. Next week, we'll have another cryptid. And, yeah. So,
Thanks for listening and watching. I appreciate you.
Once again, if you tell your friends and you get us 500 subscribers and followers on our Instagram and TikTok, and you just like up all of our stuff and eat it up, I will bake you a cake and present it to you in full body red paint. Yeah. So until next time, just make sure you make it home safe. Before I give you your keys and your wallet and your tablet, just make
I
sure.
always think about why do you always take everybody's keys and wallets?
Well, I just got to make sure that they make it home. So they have to tell me verbally, hey, I'm going to make it home safe. I'm going to be extra careful because I just care so much about you.
Yeah, you guys get drunk off our episodes.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're safe.
Intoxicated with dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you teleport, walk, travel in any kind of way home safely, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.